right now, as you sit here, something is happening inside your skin that no cream has ever been able to reach. And what I am about to tell you is going to completely change the way you think about skin aging. For the past 60 years, the skincare industry has built a $100 billion business on a single idea that aging skin is a surface problem, that if you apply the right cream, the right serum, the right topical treatment, but your skin will transform. But here is what that industry has never told you. And here is what the research shows very clearly. 3 years ago, a study published in the journal Nutrients followed 218 women over the age of 60 for 16 weeks. The researchers divided them into two groups. One group used premium topical skincare products. The other group changed specific things about what they ate. After 16 weeks, the topical group showed 7% improvement in skin elasticity. 7%. The nutrition group, 41%. 41% improvement in skin elasticity in the same 16 weeks. Let me say those numbers one more time because they matter. 7% versus 41% from the same time period with the same women, the same aging bodies. That study has been cited over 60 times in the scientific literature since it was published. Has your dermatologist mentioned it? Has any skincare brand put it in their advertising? Of course not. There is absolutely no profit in telling you to open your refrigerator. If you are over 60, if you have spent money on creams and serums that have not delivered what they promised, and if you are ready to understand what is actually happening inside your skin, this video is going to change something fundamental for you. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you are going to know 3 specific foods, 3 cheeses you can get from any grocery store that reach the layer where skin aging actually happens. The layer that no topical product on earth can access. And the third one, the one I have saved for last, works through a mechanism so powerful and so underappreciated that I am genuinely surprised this information is not mainstream yet. Have you ever had a doctor explain this to you? Type yes or no in the comments right now. I want to know. Now, before we go any further, everything I share today is based on published research and clinical experience. But your body is unique. Always confirm with your personal doctor before making changes, especially if you are managing other health conditions or taking medication. That said, let me show you what the research actually reveals. Here is what the skincare industry does not want you to understand. Your skin is not a wall. It is not a static surface you treat from the outside. Your skin is a living organ. And like every living organ in your body, it is built entirely from the inside. Picture this. Your skin has 2 layers that matter for aging. The epidermis, the surface you can touch and see. And beneath that, the dermis. This is where collagen lives, where elastin lives, where the actual scaffold of your skin is built and maintained and repaired. Topical creams, even the most expensive medical grade ones, can penetrate the epidermis sometimes. But the dermis is protected by one of the most effective barriers in the human body. The molecules in creams Even nanoparticle formulations are too large to cross it in meaningful amounts. This is not a secret. This is textbook dermatology. The very scientists who work for skincare companies know this, and yet the marketing continues because there is too much money in keeping your attention on the surface. That is the betrayal. Not from your dermatologist. They are working with the tools they were given. The betrayal comes from a system that has spent decades and billions of dollars redirecting your attention away from the simple truth. Your skin ages from the inside, and it rebuilds from the inside. And what it uses to rebuild comes entirely from what you eat. Now I want to tell you about Dorothy. She represents a pattern I have seen many times in patients just like her. Dorothy is 71 years old, a retired nurse, which is part of what made this so painful for her. She spent 30 years working in healthcare. She understood how bodies worked. She understood medications. She understood nutrition at a basic clinical level. And yet, when she looked in the mirror in the 2 years since her retirement, she felt like she was watching her face disappear. The fine lines had deepened. The area around her jaw had softened in ways she had not expected. Her skin had taken on what she described to me as a papery quality, thin, like tissue paper stretched over the wrong structure. She had tried everything: professional grade retinol, vitamin C serums, an expensive peptide cream her daughter had ordered online. She had a shelf in her bathroom that looked like a high-end pharmacy counter. When she sat across from me, she said, and I want you to hear this clearly, I know what I'm looking at. I'm a nurse. I understand that creams have limits, but nobody has given me anything else to try. Nobody has even suggested there might be something else. That sentence changed the direction of our conversation completely because she was right. And because what I was about to suggest to her was something she had probably eaten dozens of times without ever understanding what it could do. But to understand why it worked for her, you first need to understand what is actually happening inside your skin right now. And this is the part most doctors genuinely do not have time to explain in a 7-minute appointment. Here is what the research tells us about skin after 60. Stay with me here. After 60, your body produces collagen at roughly 30% of the rate it did when you were 30. But that is only half the problem. Here is what most people do not know. Your body's ability to absorb and use dietary protein, the raw material for collagen, also declines significantly. The Journal of the American Medical Association published data showing that adults over 60 require up to 50% more dietary protein than younger adults to achieve the same level of tissue synthesis. 50% more protein to do the same work. And here is the painful irony. Most older adults are eating less protein than ever, not more. Appetite decreases, digestion slows, food feels like less of a priority. So you have a situation where the demand for raw material is high, the supply is low, and the body is losing the efficiency to process what little it does receive. That is not a cream problem. That is a biological deficit, and it shows up on your face. But here is what makes this hopeful, not devastating. That deficit can be addressed precisely, strategically, and with foods that cost almost nothing. The 3 cheeses I am about to share with you each address a different part of this problem, in a different time window, through a different biological pathway. When you combine all 3, you are giving your skin the best possible internal environment to rebuild itself the way it was designed to. And I need to tell you right now, the third cheese on this list, the one I have saved for last, works through a pathway that has nothing to do with collagen directly. It works through your body's primary internal defense system against oxidative aging. And when you understand what happens to that system after 60 and what the third cheese does to restore it, you are going to understand why the changes people see at week 4 and week 5 feel almost impossible to explain. But we start with number 3 on the countdown. And this one is probably already sitting in your refrigerator right now. Cottage cheese. I know, I can almost hear the skepticism. Bland, diet food. The cheese you eat when you are trying to lose weight and nothing else sounds good. That association is costing you something. Let me show you why. Your skin does the vast majority of its repair and reconstruction work at night, not during the day. During daylight hours, your body is in defense mode. It is managing UV exposure, fighting environmental inflammation, coordinating stress hormones. Repair is secondary. But at night, when those demands quiet down, your body shifts into what researchers call anabolic mode. Growth hormone pulses, cellular repair accelerates, collagen synthesis reaches its daily peak. This window, from roughly the time you fall asleep to the early morning hours, is when your skin decides whether to improve or deteriorate. And what happens in that window depends almost entirely on one thing: whether the raw materials are available. Here is the biological problem. Most proteins, the chicken at dinner, the eggs at breakfast, are digested and fully absorbed within 2 to 3 hours. By 10 or 11 at night, they are gone. And then for the next 8 to 10 hours, your skin's repair team is working in a nutritional desert. Cottage cheese changes that completely because of casein. Casein is the primary protein in cottage cheese. And casein behaves in a way that is almost unique in the entire food world. When casein enters your stomach, it does not dissolve quickly. It forms a thick gel, almost a solid, and that gel releases amino acids. The building blocks collagen is made from slowly and continuously over 4 to 6 hours. Picture it this way. Most proteins are like a garden tap opened at full blast for 2 minutes. Everything rushes through and then nothing. Casein is more like a slow drip irrigation system, still feeding your skin's repair processes at 2 in the morning, at 3, at 4, steady, sustained, exactly aligned with the window when your body most needs it. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition specifically examining nighttime protein consumption in adults over 60 found that participants who consumed casein protein before sleep showed significantly greater overnight tissue synthesis compared to those who consumed nothing. Significantly greater, not marginally, significantly. And 2 specific amino acids in casein are worth knowing about: glycine and proline. These are not minor players. These are the structural foundation of collagen itself. Without adequate glycine, collagen becomes chemically unstable. Without adequate proline, collagen loses its tensile strength. It is like building reinforced concrete. Without the steel rods, the structure cannot hold. Most people over 60 are consuming protein during the day, but missing the critical nighttime delivery window. and missing the specific amino acid profile that collagen synthesis actually requires. Now, I need to be crystal clear about something before we move on. If you have chronic kidney disease, even moderate stage, increased protein at night needs medical supervision. Casein creates additional filtration demand on the kidneys. If you have a known dairy allergy or severe lactose intolerance, this protocol is not appropriate for you. And if you are taking any medication specifically for kidney function, please talk to your doctor before adding this. For most healthy older adults, a half cup at night is well tolerated, but I always recommend starting with a quarter cup in the first week to assess your individual digestion. The protocol: half a cup of full fat cottage cheese, 30 minutes before sleep. Full fat, not low fat. The fat content slows gastric emptying slightly, which actually extends the casein release window further into the night. Add a small pinch of cinnamon if you like, which has blood sugar stabilizing properties of its own. Keep it simple, keep it consistent. And here is something critical about timing that most people miss. Your body does not just need protein. It needs protein when the repair window is open. The same half cup of cottage cheese at 2 in the afternoon does almost nothing for overnight skin repair. Biology is about timing, not just content. Back to Dorothy. When I suggested cottage cheese, she did what every nurse does when they hear something unexpected from a colleague. She gave me the skeptical pause. Then she said, "That is your recommendation? Cheese before bed?" I walked her through everything I just told you. The casein mechanism, the repair window, the amino acid profile. She listened carefully the way nurses listen, with her arms folded and her eyes tracking every detail. Then she said something that told me she understood completely. She said, "So I have been doing an involuntary 12-hour fast every single night, right at the time my body most needs to rebuild." Exactly. She started the cottage cheese protocol that Thursday. She texted me the following Monday. She said, "I don't have measurements. I can't give you numbers yet. But something felt different when I woke up this morning. My skin felt different, softer, almost like it was holding moisture it wasn't holding before." I told her to keep going because we were just beginning. But here is what I need you to understand about the second piece of this puzzle. It involves a cheese that almost everyone is using in the wrong form. A form that eliminates most of what makes it genuinely extraordinary. And a mechanism that explains why digestion becomes the hidden limiting factor for skin nutrition as we age. Number 2 on our countdown, Parmesan. But not the Parmesan you are probably thinking of. The fine powder in the green plastic canister, the one that can sit on a shelf for months without refrigeration. That product has lost the biological complexity that makes authentic Parmesan worth discussing today. The aging process, the very thing that creates its value, has been bypassed. What remains is flavor without function. When I say Parmesan, I mean the hard block, the kind with a rind, the kind that smells like something alive, the kind you grate yourself or buy pre-grated from the refrigerated section, the kind that has been aging for a minimum of 12 months, often 18 or 24. Here is what happens inside that cheese during those months, and this is important. Your digestive system's primary job with protein is to break long, complex protein chains into shorter peptide chains and eventually into individual amino acids that can be absorbed through the intestinal wall. This is demanding work. It requires hydrochloric acid, it requires digestive enzymes, it requires time and energy. After 60, stomach acid production declines significantly. Enzyme production follows. Your digestive system is still capable, but it is working with fewer tools. The result is that you can eat excellent protein and your body extracts meaningfully less from it than it would have extracted 20 years ago. You are eating the same food, but you are getting less from it. Think of it like dry, compacted soil after a summer drought. Pour water on it, the water runs off, the soil cannot absorb what is right in front of it. Real Parmesan has solved that problem in advance. During its long aging process, bacterial enzymes have already done the work your digestive system struggles to do. The long protein chains have already been broken, partially digested. Some have been converted all the way to free amino acids. When you eat real Parmesan, those amino acids arrive at your intestinal wall ready, pre-processed. Your body does not have to struggle. It simply absorbs. And what Parmesan delivers in those readily available amino acids goes directly to the tissue that needs them most, including your skin. But there is something else, something that the research has identified more recently, and this one I find fascinating: chronic low-grade inflammation. What researchers have started calling inflammaging is now understood to be one of the primary drivers of visible aging. Not just sun damage, not just stress, chronic inflammation, a slow fire burning inside your tissue. It degrades collagen fibers. It breaks elastin. It disrupts the skin cell's ability to retain water. It accelerates the entire aging process. During Parmesan's aging process, specific bioactive peptides form that were not present in the original milk. Research published in the Journal of Dairy Science identified these compounds and demonstrated their ability to inhibit specific inflammatory markers in tissue models. Not dramatically, not like a medication, but consistently, the way food works, accumulating over time. A small amount of real Parmesan every day is not just delivering amino acids. It is delivering a low-level anti-inflammatory signal, quietly reducing the fire that is degrading your collagen and elastin from within. If this information is new to you, hit the like button right now so the algorithm can show this to someone else who needs it. This is exactly the kind of thing that falls through the cracks of mainstream skincare conversation. One more thing about Parmesan that almost nobody discusses. After 60, many people lose appetite. Food becomes less interesting, less flavorful. Everything requires more effort. And when eating becomes less pleasurable, nutritional deficits accumulate silently, slowly, over months and years. Parmesan contains one of the highest natural concentrations of glutamate of any food on earth, that deep savory quality, what chefs call umami. That flavor signal is not just pleasant, it stimulates appetite. It increases salivary enzyme production. It prepares your digestive system to extract more from everything that follows. A few slices of real Parmesan before or with a meal actually improves your body's ability to process the entire meal. Now, the safety piece for Parmesan specifically. If you have gout or elevated uric acid levels, aged hard cheeses are high in purines and need to be discussed with your doctor before adding. If you have congestive heart failure with active fluid retention, the sodium content of aged cheese matters. Keep portions to 1 or 2 ounces daily if you are on warfarin or blood thinners. Dairy itself does not typically interact, but any significant change in food intake should be noted with your physician. Protocol for Parmesan: 1 to 2 thin slices with your largest meal of the day, or a small handful grated over a protein-rich dish. This is not about large quantities. It is about consistent daily delivery of pre-processed amino acids and bioactive peptides during the window when your body is actively distributing nutrients. Now, Dorothy reached week 3 on the cottage cheese protocol when I added Parmesan to her routine. She mentioned during that visit that someone had once told her years ago that aged cheeses were bad for cholesterol. I asked her when that was. She thought about it. She could not remember who had said it or when. It had simply become a belief she carried without examining. This is one of the most common things I encounter. Nutritional decisions made decades ago based on advice people cannot trace that quietly close doors to genuinely helpful foods. We read the research together. She started the Parmesan. At week 5 of the combined protocol, she came in and said something that I found remarkably precise. She said, "My skin is retaining something it wasn't retaining before. I can't measure it, but I can see it. There's more structure, like something underneath is fuller." That was exactly what was happening. The dermis was receiving raw materials through 2 different mechanisms at 2 different times of day. And the scaffolding was beginning to rebuild. But we still had not added the most powerful element, and now we have arrived at it. This is the one I teased at the beginning. This is the one that works through a pathway that no skincare product has ever been able to replicate. And to explain why it is so important, I need to tell you something about your body's aging that most people do not know. Number 1, the most powerful cheese in this protocol, ricotta. I know what you are thinking. Ricotta, the soft stuff in lasagna? Bear with me for 60 seconds, because what comes next is going to change how you think about skin aging permanently. Your body produces a molecule called glutathione. You may have seen it in supplement form, but most people do not understand what it actually is or why it matters so much. Glutathione is your cell's primary internal defense and repair system. Every single day, your skin cells are under attack from free radicals. These are unstable molecules created by UV exposure, air pollution, and stress hormones. Even the normal processes of cellular metabolism. Free radicals attack collagen fibers. They oxidize cell membranes. They damage the enzymes that maintain skin structure and elasticity. Glutathione is what neutralizes those free radicals before they can complete that damage. Picture it as a molecular cleanup crew working inside every cell in your body, intercepting destructive molecules before they can accumulate. Without adequate glutathione, free radical damage builds, and the visible result: the skin that looks dull, the lines that seem to deepen faster than they should, the quality of skin that no longer seems to bounce back, that is oxidative aging, the accumulation of damage that an overwhelmed defense system could not neutralize fast enough. Now, here is the critical information that I need you to really hear. Glutathione production drops dramatically with age. By the time you are 60, your body may be producing 40 to 60% less glutathione than it did at 30. That is not a small number. That is a 40 to 60% reduction in your primary internal defense against skin aging. And here is something even more important. You cannot simply take glutathione as a supplement and expect it to reach your skin cells. Oral glutathione is largely broken down by your digestive tract before it can be absorbed. Your stomach processes it the same way it processes other proteins. By the time what you swallowed has been through digestion, very little intact glutathione makes it to the tissue where it needs to function. Your body needs to manufacture glutathione internally inside the cell where it actually works. And to manufacture it, your cells need a specific precursor amino acid called cysteine. This is where ricotta becomes one of the most extraordinary foods for aging skin that exists. Ricotta is not made like other cheeses. It is made from whey, the liquid that separates from milk during cheese making. For centuries, that liquid was considered agricultural waste. Farmers fed it to livestock. They could not imagine that it contained anything valuable, and yet that liquid contains whey protein, the most bioavailable form of protein that exists in the food world, with a cysteine concentration dramatically higher than any other common dairy protein, higher than casein, higher than standard milk protein, higher than most meat proteins. When you eat ricotta, absorption is rapid. Within 30 to 45 minutes, amino acids, including cysteine, are entering your bloodstream. Your cells receive exactly the raw material they need to synthesize glutathione internally, not supplement glutathione that degrades before it arrives. Glutathione manufactured inside the cell where it functions by the cell that needs it. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that whey protein consumption increased intracellular glutathione levels by up to 24% in adults over the age of 60 over a 12-week period. 24% restoration of a defense system that most people did not even know was declining. And what does increased glutathione actually mean for your skin? Research from the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition found that participants with measurably higher glutathione levels showed significantly better skin elasticity, reduced oxidative damage markers in skin tissue, and more even skin tone compared to matched participants with lower levels. This is not cosmetic improvement from the outside. This is cellular defense operating more effectively from the inside. Your skin is not just looking better, it is functioning better, defending better, repairing better. Ricotta is absorbed quickly, unlike casein, which means the optimal time to eat it is in the morning when your body has emerged from overnight fast and every cell is primed for immediate nutrient absorption. You give the cells cysteine first thing in the morning and throughout the day as your skin is exposed to UV radiation and environmental stressors. Your glutathione system has the resources to respond. Now, I need to be clear about ricotta specifically. If you have phenylketonuria or any amino acid metabolism disorder, please consult your doctor before significantly increasing whey protein. The same kidney caution applies as with cottage cheese if you have chronic kidney disease. Talk to your doctor. If you are taking ACE inhibitors for blood pressure, whey protein can modestly enhance their blood pressure lowering effect. So monitor your pressure more frequently for the first 2 weeks and discuss with your physician. Start with half a cup of whole milk ricotta in the morning. Do not exceed 1 cup daily. Now, let me give you the complete protocol, assembled as a system. Morning, within 30 minutes of waking. Half a cup of whole milk ricotta. Before coffee, if you can manage it on its own, or with berries, or stirred into something warm. The goal is rapid absorption during your peak cellular sensitivity window. Afternoon, with your largest meal, 1 to 2 ounces of authentic aged Parmesan, grated or sliced, eaten with food, not instead of it. This reinforces amino acid availability through your primary daily metabolic window, 30 minutes before sleep. Half a cup of full-fat cottage cheese, plain or with a small amount of cinnamon. This opens the overnight repair window and keeps it open through the entire night. 3 cheeses, 3 windows, 3 biological mechanisms working in sequence, working together. Now, I want to be completely honest with you about what to expect, because I have watched people start protocols like this, experience a difficult first week, and give up before the biology has had time to work. And that would be a genuine loss. Week 1, your digestive system is adapting. Some people, particularly with the nighttime cottage cheese, notice more bathroom visits in the night. Some experience mild bloating in the first few days. This is not failure. This is your gut microbiome calibrating to a new protein pattern. Push through this week, it resolves for the vast majority of people by day 10, week 2. Digestion normalizes. Most people begin to notice something in the morning. The skin feels slightly different when they first wake up, more plump, more hydrated from the inside. It is subtle enough that you will second guess it. That second guessing is normal. The changes are real, but they are not dramatic at week 2. Trust the process. Week 3. This is the breakthrough week. I hear it consistently from my patients. The overnight repair window has been consistently supplied for 21 days. The glutathione system has been receiving cysteine for 3 weeks. Multiple biological mechanisms are now working together. The area around the eyes is often where people notice first. Lines that are still there but somehow less severe, skin that has a quality of fullness that was not there before. Week 4 and beyond, the glutathione accumulation effect begins to show visibly. Skin tone starts to even. Areas that looked oxidatively dull, tired, begin to reflect light differently. This is not my opinion. This is biochemistry reaching critical mass. I want to tell you the most important thing about this protocol, and it applies to everything worth doing that takes time. Most people quit after 3 days. 3 days. Because the bathroom trips in week 1 feel like it is not working. Because they do not feel different at day 3. And they miss the thing that happens at week 3 because they were not willing to push through week 1. The discomfort of week 1 is not evidence that the protocol is not working. It is evidence that your body is responding. Your digestive system is changing. That is exactly what is supposed to happen. Back to Dorothy one final time. 6 weeks into the full protocol, all 3 cheeses, she came in for a follow-up. She brought her daughter along. Her daughter had wanted to come to understand what her mother was doing differently. The daughter sat across from me and she said, without any prompting, without knowing what I had recommended, she said, I want to know what my mother is doing because she looks like herself again. She looks the way I remember her looking 5 or 6 years ago. Dorothy looked at me across the table, and she said something quietly that I have thought about many times since. She said, I feel like I got something back that I genuinely believed was gone permanently. Not perfection, not 20 years erased, but the return of what her body was still fully capable of when it finally received what it needed. That is the real promise of this protocol. You now understand something that $100 billion in marketing has tried to keep you from understanding. Your skin does not age from the surface. It ages from within, and it rebuilds from within. And 3 foods from your grocery store, costing less per week than a single jar of face cream, can reach the layer where that rebuilding actually happens. You have the full protocol, you have the timing, you have the mechanism, you have everything you need to start this today. If you watched this entire video, type the words "I finished" in the comments right now. And then do one thing for me. Think of one person, your sister, your closest friend, your daughter, someone who has been frustrated by the same battle with their skin. Share this video directly with them, not a general share. One specific person, today, not tomorrow. Because this is exactly the kind of information that gets buried, that never makes it into a 7-minute appointment. That falls through the cracks while the supplement aisles get wider and the skincare sections get more expensive. You understand now. And that understanding belongs to someone in your life who needs it. Next week, I am going to share something that I genuinely believe will surprise even those of you who pay close attention to nutrition research. There is one compound found in a breakfast food that most people over 60 eat regularly, that researchers have now linked to accelerated breakdown of the very collagen protein your skin depends on. A study followed 412 adults over 60 for 18 months, and the results directly contradicted what most nutritionists currently recommend for skin health in older adults. That is next week. Make sure you are subscribed and the notification bell is turned on, because that one is one you will not want to reach for your phone and miss.